Hello, my name is Phil Craven and I am the station chaplain at the Defence Academy. It's my pleasure to bring you a reading and a word today. Our passage today is taken from the book of Exodus, chapter 34, beginning at verse 29. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near to him. But Moses called to them. So Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. Afterwards, all the Israelites came near him, and he gave them all the commandments that the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with him, he removed the veil until he came out. And when he came out and told the Israelites what he had been commanded, they saw that his face was radiant. Then Moses would put the veil back over his face until he went to speak with the Lord. Amen. In verse 29 of that passage we read, Moses was not aware that his face was radiant. The face is a wonderful thing, isn't it? And we communicate so much with our faces. We can find our faces beaming with pride. We can find our faces beaming with laughter. Or we can find our faces beaming with embarrassment. In Scotland, we call it a ready. If you've got a red face, you're so embarrassed you've got a ready. In our passage today, we read about Moses' face. It wasn't beaming with pride, it wasn't beaming with laughter, it wasn't beaming because he had a ready. There was something different about his face. Moses had just been up Mount Sinai meeting with God, and God gave him 2 stone tablets with the 10 commandments on them. Now, this was the second set of commandments that God had given to Moses. The first time that Moses had gone up Mount Sinai, the people that he left at the bottom of the mountain began to make a golden calf in order to worship a false god in his absence. So when Moses came down and saw this before him, he was so frustrated because of what the people had done. And he broke the stone tablets because the people had broken their faith to God. So when Moses came back down the second time, when we come in this passage today, he comes down with another set of stone tablets. And the passage tells us that the people were afraid because Moses' face was now beaming. He had just met with God. And Moses was totally unaware that he was now reflecting the divine glory that he had just seen. The Israelites were understandably nervous and afraid to come anywhere near to Moses because he looked so different. He had just met with the Lord and he had been physically changed. One of the things that I found odd in recent times is when people have begun to take off their face masks and for the first time you get to see their face. Or perhaps you've not seen their full face in so long you forgot what they looked like. There are so many people that I know just as a pair of eyes and a mask. There are so many people that I simply don't know their whole face. And it's amazing how different people look when you can see the whole of their face. Now, some people have told me that I look better with a mask on. I think that's a bit cheeky, a bit rude. But there's something deeply powerful in being able to see someone truly, fully, the wonder of the face. We don't see half the glory, half the face. We see the full face now. When Moses came down the mountainside for the second time and met with the people, they saw in his face the fullness of God's glory shining brightly. Now that surely isn't it? That's surely what it means to be a Christian, to shine brightly with the radiance and love of God, and not to conceal it or to only show bits of it to certain people at certain times, or even to mask it altogether. The light is meant to shine. On another mountaintop, thousands of years later, Jesus met with his friends in Matthew chapter 5. He didn't give them the 10 Commandments, he gave them the Beatitudes. And in the Beatitudes, Jesus said that his followers were to be the light of the world. They were to be a lamp, a city, a beacon of light, of hope, shining brightly in the dark world. Now, the purpose of light is that it fundamentally changes and impacts its surroundings. Light changes your environment. Light changes your mood. Light changes your outlook in life. We're getting into springtime now, and the lighter days bring the daffodil bulbs to life. The lighter nights give us more freedom to do more things in the evenings. And the lighter skies help us to lift up our eyes, and also it gives us a chance to dust off your summer wardrobe. The purpose of light is that it fundamentally changes and impacts its surroundings. Nothing is left unchanged when the light shines. And so when Moses' face shone with the glory of the Lord, it changed his life, it changed his surroundings, and it changed the lives of those around him. But the radiance of Moses' face dimmed over time, which is why he kept a veil over his face to stop the Israelites from seeing that fading glory. For us, the journey of faith, of life, of discipleship, is to become more and more like Jesus each and every day. And as we become more like him, we are transformed into the likeness and image of Christ. And as we are transformed, we shine more and more with his light, his love, his grace, his mercy, his peace, his joy, more and more and more. A life of following Christ truly and deeply means that the radiance does not fade, as it did with Moses, but that it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And as it gets brighter, it reaches further. And as it reaches further, it changes more and more of the darkness around it. How wonderful would it be for all of us to live in a world where each of us beamed with Christ's mercy? How wonderful would it be for us all to live in a world where each of us beamed in the radiance of Christ's grace? How wonderful would it be for each of us to live in a world where each of us beamed in the radiance of Christ's love? When the Israelites saw Moses' face, They knew he had met with God, and they were changed by that. When we meet with the world, when we shine with light into the world, we will change the world, because we believe in a God of resurrection power that bursts into the world and changes it for the better. So today I ask you, how can you shine with the radiance of Christ in your family, in your work, in your community? How can you shine with the radiance of Christ this day? Amen.